Hey, guys and gals. Had a little snafu. I don't know what was going on. Maybe I was using too many resources trying to edit a video, but hey, blissful. But for whatever reason, it was, I don't know, it was looking all funky and wasn't playing my intro and all of that. So I'm here now. Hopefully, everybody can see me and hear me. Um, I have been actively working on the intro to Midday with Dana and Jay, which will officially premiere tomorrow. I'm thinking about keeping the time at like 1 p.m. Eastern time. So I got to get my shit together with that so I can send a link to Jay so that he can be sure to join me on there. So, um, but tonight is, yeah, let's talk some shitty movies, X-Ray. Well, you know, I don't know. Some of these you guys and gals may agree with me on. Some of them you may not agree with me on. But these are just 10 that I pulled from my shelf in no particular order. I just went through the Blu-ray shelf, Blu-ray and 4K shelf behind me, and just picked some off. Now, I may go through, because I only got through or to the D's. And hey, Darren, I only got to the D's on my shelf. So that means from A to D, I picked 10 movies, and I didn't want to go over that because, like I say, I try to keep these Seductive Poison, the Resurgence podcast streams pretty short, an hour or a little over an hour, so as not to keep you guys too long. Man, we got 7 in here already. Um, but I kind of wanted to share my screen a little bit. This is not finished by any stretch of the imagination. I'm still working on it. But I looked down and I was like, oh crap, it's 8 o'clock. I'm supposed to be doing my Seductive Poison or Resurgence podcast. So I will definitely have to go back to it. But I did want to share my screen and kind of show you guys and gals what I've got so far. It's not much, but I'm proud of what I've got. So let me see if I can share my screen with you guys. And this is a rough cut, and it's not finished, and it's still in Canva, which is an online tool that I'm using to create this video. So let me go ahead and share my screen with you. This is just only a few seconds long so far. So here we go. Okay. So I know that's not a lot, but that's all I've got for now. But I like that jazzy tune. I was going through copyright free music, trying to find something that sounded kind of like a talk show or something like that. I've got to add more pictures to it. But I hope y'all like that little, that's one of the perks of being in just about every one of my live streams. You kind of get a sneak peek at what I'm working on. So thank you, Blissful. You say you love it. X-Ray, you say the music sounds like silk stockings. I hadn't thought of that. Um, but so y'all got the inside track, uh, to what'll hopefully be finished by tomorrow, so that I can add it to our little show. And also, CK was kind enough to create an awesome Midday with Dana and Jay logo that I am going to add to the stream tomorrow as well. So I'm glad you guys and gals enjoyed that. And now I am going to take myself out of the stream temporarily because I'm going to go refresh my drink because I don't think I caught a code from TJ through our stream last night. I don't think that's how it works. But I'm feeling like I've got a cold now. I've had headaches. I've been sneezing, coughing. Yeah, the whole works. So I am going to, get something to kind of lubricate my throat a little bit. And I'll be right back and we'll get to these movies. Okay. I also had to take I guess the hat's going to have to come off for now. And please apologize my appearance because I got so into making that intro that I didn't get a chance to put my makeup on. So there are a few blemishes and stuff. My hand is healing up. This looks a lot better than it did like when I was making the Mystic Pizza. Um, so anyway, and the fact that I think I've got a cold. But, anyways, let's go ahead. Blizzard, you're saying I could have caught it from TJ during the stream? Yeah, I did. Uh, I may have dug myself into a hole there, X ray. I kind of knew that was probably the wrong way to put it. But, anyways, let's get to these movies. So, this is the so bad they're good horror films. Now, keep in mind that this is from my perspective. My perspective, the person that loves Final Exam and Terror on Tour and Terror at Teen Killer and all that. So, some of the stuff that I'm bringing up and we'll bring up in like, I'm planning on this being a multiple part thing. Okay. So I wanted to come up with some of my own ideas for the podcast and also pull from the topics that people gave me, when I did the pilot episode and I was kind of asking for suggestions. Um, Yes, duly noted, Blissful. You said, let it be noted I behaved. LOL. Um, so the first movie, and again, these are in no order by favorite to least favorite or really, really bad to not so bad. These are just how I pulled them off my shelf back there. Okay. So the first one is Basket Case. And as you can see, the reason I pulled, excuse me, the reason I pulled this one instead of my Arrow version is because I wanted to show off my Frank Kenenlotter autograph that I got at Cinema Wasteland a few years back. As you can see, he's put to Dana from your friends at the Hotel Broslin, Frank Kenenlotter. And I think what happened is I bought this from his table and then he basically signed it for free. I think this was like $30. This is the Something Weird video version of Basket Case as well. Thank you, Blissful. Blissful says, please hit the thumbs up. Thank you. X-Ray, you say, see, I think Basket Case is just plain good. The sequels, though, oh my gosh, yeah, we could talk about the sequels all day long. But the thing, when I talk about bad, okay, or so bad they're good, um, I'm not just talking about subject matter. I'm talking about primitive effects and all of that stuff. Because you guys and gals that have seen Basket Case can admit that the special effects are very primitive in this film. Uh, Obviously, Frank Henenlotter didn't have a lot of money, but he utilized what he did have to the best of his ability. You also have a woman who I think I affectionately call her Wig Woman in this, but she is the receptionist at one of the doctor's offices that kind of sort of becomes Dwayne's girlfriend at some point in the film and is subsequently molested by Belial in one weird ass sequence. But I have just so much fun with this movie. But back to the wig thing. The girl that Terry Susan Smith, who plays this young woman in the film who gets involved with Dwayne Bradley, um, Dwayne, who's a brother of Belial, who Belial is the twisted, uh, I guess you would call it Siamese twin that was separated from Dwayne when they were very young. And so Terry Susan Smith's character, I believe she was in a punk rock band and she had her head shaved. But that just wouldn't work for this film. So they got her a wig, and it's an obvious wig, and it's laughably bad. But I have a lot of fun with this movie, like I said, overall, just because of the audacity of it. The basic attitude, I think, of Frank Henenlotter is I don't give a shit. I'm going to make the movie my way. And if people like it, great. If they don't, fuck it. Basically, because um, he made, I don't think Frank Henenlotter was making this movie for anybody but himself, really. And as long as he was satisfied with it, anybody else that liked it was just a bonus along the way. And, people did like it. Us, I'm not afraid to call myself a weirdo. When it comes to certain films, hey, I am a weirdo. And I mean that in the best possible way. I'm not trying to offend anybody here. So, this film is very bloody and gory. It's very twisted, very bizarre. I mean, hell, have you ever seen a creature that looks like Belial? I haven't in a movie or otherwise. So, not only do you have Belial, but you have, you have Wig Woman, you have Terry Susan Smith's character, you have a whole kind of semi nightmare sequence where Dwayne is running through the streets of New York, buck ass naked, full frontal. We see a penis and everything, right? So, you know, Henenlotter pulls no punches with this movie. But every time I watch it, I have a hell of a good time watching it. I laugh. I don't cry unless it's laughing so much that I cry. Um, I I just if I'm having a bad day and I put in basket case, it's gonna automatically make me feel better. Okay. Trust me on this, guys and gals. If you're a horror fan and you have not seen Basket Case, you owe it to yourself to watch this movie, to seek out this movie. Now, I'm not telling you to go out and buy it. I'm not telling you to pay $30 for it. I'm just saying, find a for free version somewhere. You don't have to tell me how you got it, but find a for free version somewhere and watch this. It'll be probably the best move you made all year. I know I'm exaggerating just a tad, but this movie, it, I can't imagine not experiencing this movie at least once if you're a horror fan. Okay. So, and I love the tagline. The tenant in room 7 is very small, very twisted, and very mad. So you guys are burning up the chat here, so I'm gonna read through some of these. X-Ray, you said the stop motion effects were charming. He wanted to do an entire sequence with Belial rampaging down the street, but it would have been too difficult. You are exactly right, X-Ray. X-Ray, you also say there aren't any sleaze hotels left in Manhattan, but if they do remake it, which you know they will, sadly, yeah, I'm afraid that's coming. I know a place in the Bronx they can use as the new Broslin Hotel. There you go, X-Ray. You need to get on the inside track on that and tell them which hotel they can use. I agree with this too, X-Ray. You said basket case is like Taxi Driver. You just couldn't do it again in today's New York City. No, no, they have cleaned up New York City too much, I think. So, I think the days of these gritty, low budget shockers, not only because New York is so cleaned up in Disney eyes now, which, I like that they're trying to cut down on crime and all that. That's all good. But to take away that grittiness, that creep factor, I guess, with some of this stuff, like Maniac, for instance. I mean, I know I'm not talking about Maniac tonight, but can you imagine if they had tried to film Maniac and Joe Spinell probably would have said, "What the hell is this shit?" You know, walking around in cleaned up New York, and it doesn't have that grimy, gritty, oozing atmosphere. So yeah, I totally agree with that. Sorry, guys. I may end up having to go and get me a cough drop or something. Hey, Dirk. I know, Dirk. You said we need to get on some TCM. I am now. Blissful says proud weirdo. Yeah, me too, Blissful. Darky, so people used to ask me, why aren't you normal? Normal? Ain't that a setting on a washing machine? That's exactly right, Dirk. Exactly right. What is normal anyway, too? You know, I think that's just in the eye of the beholder, pretty much. Melissa says, Dirk, I say the same thing. X-Ray, you say everyone should own it. It's an American classic, better than that French artsy shit film critics like. uh, Blissel says X-Ray, you're from New York. X-Ray, you say New York is shitty, but not 70 shitty. LOL. You say, yeah, it's the leadership that's shit. So anyway, like I said earlier, and like I say at the beginning of all of these streams, I don't intend these to be very long, so I'm not gonna focus like a really long time on each film. But you guys and gals feel free to keep chatting it up, you know, because that's keeps things propelling along, it keeps things entertaining and all that. And I forgot to mention, and people can still join me live on the chat, or live in the stream rather, if they would like to. And I've starred that, the link. And if you need me to add it back in the chat, excuse me, just ask me and I'll be happy to do that. So the next one is Blood Diner. This is a movie that, for whatever reason, in my video store rental days, I remember seeing this. But for whatever reason, I did not ever rent it. But then after I started listening to Dead Pit for a while, Uncle Bill basically championed this movie. And I was like, the way he's talking about this damn movie, I gotta watch it, right? Uh, Actually, you said that's the one CK gives you shit for liking. LOL. Well, not Blood Diner, but he gives me shit for liking Final Exam. He gives me shit for liking Terror on Tour and also Terror at Teen Killer. I believe that's the three big ones. But Darky say, good. When you get off, you can join the family on TCM. My gamer tag is Taste of Defeat. I like it, Dirk. I'm going to write it down because the way my brain is now, I am liable to forget. So let's just. I don't know if I can do it though tonight, though, Dirk. To be honest, because I'm going to have to work on the rest of that intro for the new show that Jay and I are doing, Midday with Dana and Jay. But I did write down your gamer tag. You say it has double meaning. Yeah, I get that. Yeah, that's right, Blissful. Just the one? Well, okay, so what's Blood Diner about in case you're not in the know? So, let me read a little bit of this plot synopsis on the back here. So, grab a table at the Blood Diner, a cut above the rest. The Namtip brothers run the most popular restaurant in town. Popular, that is, if you're the country coroner, or county coroner, sorry. The head chef has a real human touch with his special recipes, a killer lineup of delicacies made from human flesh. One of the most insane and over the top horror comedies ever made. Blood Diner is presented here fully uncut, restored from original vault materials, and features a buffet of tasty new supplemental features you'll just die for because this is part of the Vestron Collector Series. There's something on my glasses, so It's amazing the crap that you can get on your glasses in no time. Um, so so Blood Diner concerns these two brothers and their uncle, who is basically a brain and eyeballs in a jar that tells the boys that they need to bring about the goddess Sheetar. And to do this, they have to basically sacrifice women to Sheetar. Okay. But I mean, it's hilariously bad and it's just hilarious. Like, you have one scene where one of the brothers repeatedly runs over this guy with his vehicle. And I mean, you literally watch him run over him and then back over him, run over him and back over him. It's insane. And I find myself almost howling with laughter every time I watch it. Um, and that includes the whole film. Um, so I think the big thing about this is it's just so over the top. Like it says in the plot line, it's insane. It's so over the top. I mean, you have them like battering up women and throwing them in deep fryers, and I'm not kidding. This is this is part of the movie. This was directed by Jackie Kong, who was a director, a woman director that I think the Dead Pit Boys tried to get in touch with for a long time, and I I don't think they ever did. But there is, if you get this version, this Vestron Collector Series version, there is audio commentary with director Jackie Kong. There's also featurettes, Queen Kong, the cook, the uncle, and the detective, open for business, scoring for Sheetar, You Are What They Eat, archival interview with project consultant Eric Calden, or Caden rather, theatrical trailer, TV spots, and a still gallery. Um, I mean, this has got everything you would ever want in a horror comedy, a cult film. Uh, and if you don't enjoy this, I just don't know what to say. If you're a horror fan and you don't find something to enjoy about Blood Diner, I don't know. Maybe, and I'm not trying to be insulting, but maybe you should reevaluate your status as a horror fan, because this is just so much fun. And the only regret I have is that it took me so damn long to watch it. Darren does bring up Darren does bring up a good point here. He says, I went into this expecting a straight up horror film. It took me another watch to fully appreciate it. And I get that because, just looking at the title, just looking at the cover art and the title and all of that, yeah, that's that's what you would more than likely think on first watch, which is another reason why I didn't. I don't know why I didn't rent this one ever. And Darren, you said there's not many horror films that work with actual comedy, but Blood Diner is one a semi sequel to Blood Feast. Exactly. Exactly. X-Ray, you say, I wish my last name was Kong. Blissful, you say, added it to my list. I feel like I've lived under a rock. Well, Blissful, you're like kind of coming into this madcap world of horror films. So, you know, you kind of have an excuse there. I don't feel like you've lived under a rock. You just haven't really been exposed to this stuff. much before, being in these streams and stuff like that. Well, you're entitled to say that, Wes. You said Blood Diner is a lot better than Final Exam. Believe me, I'll be getting to Final Exam though, just not tonight. Now, Blood Diner is not better than The Burning, in my opinion. Yeah, Darren says wouldn't go that far, CK. I think CK might be, or Wes is yanking my chain a little bit. But I also love the tagline for Blood Diner. First they greet you, then they eat you. What a fantastic tagline for a movie. So this is another one that definitely, if you don't already own it, try to find a for free version first. Take a gander at it, see if it's something that you might want to purchase. I am not recommending that anybody go out and spend hard earned money on any of these movies, because just because I say I had fun with it doesn't mean that everybody on the planet is going to feel the same, right? So that's why I always say try your best to find a for free version first, or borrow a copy from a friend or family member if they have one, and check it out for yourself first. Well, she said we had Blood Diner on VHS back in the day. Well, I never owned it on VHS. However, I don't know why, because I remember seeing the VHS for rental in the rental stores, and I don't know why I never rented it. It's beyond me that I didn't do it. Oh, perfect, Darren. You said, Dana, we need a Blood Diner watch along with Uncle Bill. Well, if I could get Uncle Bill on here, actually, speaking of watch alongs, I don't know if I've added that to my watch along list already. Let's take a gander here. I do have Blood Diner on here, Darren. April 13th of next year, we will be doing Blood Diner. So, if Uncle Bill can join me, or Uncle Bill and CK both can join me, I'd be glad to have both of them on for that. Oh, that's okay, Wes. You say I legit like Blood Diner more than The Burning. That is perfectly fine. Um, Wes, you say maybe. We've been trying to get Jackie Kong for an interview. She would be good to get on for the commentary. Yeah, I mean, is there contact information for her out there? Like, does she have a Facebook or anything, Wes? I'm not trying to steal y'all's thunder. Y'all could do the interview, but I thought, if there was a chance that I could get her on the commentary, I could go ahead and ask her. It's not going to be till next April. So, all right. So the next one is the only horror movie I know that stars Tiny Tim. And of course, you know what I'm talking about, right? Blood Harvest. This movie is just bad, bad, bad. Uh, not, I mean, probably the main girl is probably the best actor in the whole movie. Because I think a lot of these people were maybe non-actors, that they were just, either that or day players or background players or whatever you want to call them. But Tiny Tim basically steals the show here. Is he weird? Is he bizarre and odd and all that? And does he dress like a clown through the whole film pretty much? Yes, he does. Um, does he come up to Jill, the main character, and say weird off the wall things? Yeah, he does. But is it entertaining though? And I think the Blood Harvest is definitely entertaining. Now, this was a movie that Fred Owen Ray, his company, put this out briefly, and I promptly bought a copy on DVD, and then it got yanked soon after that. I don't know, I can't recall if there were like copyright issues or what. Um, but what's Blood Harvest about? So Jill, I Tanya Sacek, I'm probably massacring that poor girl's name, has just returned home from college to the rural farm community where she grew up, only to discover that her parents have mysteriously vanished. Learning that her father, a banker, has become the local pariah for overseeing land foreclosures on local farmers, Jill quickly becomes the victim of a series of strange and increasingly depraved assaults. With her only childhood friend and former lover, Gary, and his mentally unstable brother, Mervo, that's Tiny Tim's character, by the way, willing to believe her, Jill begins to fear for her life. All the while, a stalking mass killer is abducting, torturing, and brutally killing those closest to Jill. An unrelenting, grim, and perverse psychosexual thriller, Blood Harvest mixes gruesome throat slashings, copious amounts of TNA, and an unhinged supporting performance from music sensation Tiny Tim, long available only in heavily cut and gray market editions. Vinegar Syndrome, and yes, Vinegar Syndrome did put this out, proudly presents Blood Harvest on Blu-ray, fully uncut, uncensored, and newly restored in 4K from its recently discovered original camera negative. I love this movie. Despite its badness, I love this movie. Now, people that find clowns creepy may be a little put off by this because, like I said, Tiny Tim is weird and bizarre and all that. And throughout most of the film, he is in clown makeup. So if that, you know, just creeps you out beyond belief, you might not want to partake in this film. I will just say that because Tiny Tim's portrayal of Mervo is so bizarre that I remember the first time I watched it, because of course I was a lot younger with the first time watching it. I was like, what in the hell is all this? And it was kind of like a movie that had to grow on me. And there is, you know, a fair amount of TNA in this, and uh, lots of blood. Um, I wouldn't really, you know, some people might disagree with me. I wouldn't really call it a gore film, but it is a slasher film and it is bloody. But it's not like you have like intestines falling out of people and stuff like that. So I would not consider it a gore film, but I would consider it a very bloody slasher film. So Wes, you say Jackie Kong's easy to contact. She knows us. I can ask and see, but I'd want it on the Dead Pit channel too. LOL. Well, I think we could make that happen. Hey, Super Batman nerd. No, I did not hear that the girl in Blood Harvest is missing. How long? I mean, when did she end up missing? And I'm guessing you're talking about Itonia Salchek, the one that played Jill in the movie. I did not hear the story. Oh, okay. You said nobody knows what happened to her. They couldn't locate her for the Blu-ray, and this was her only movie. Maybe she don't want to be found. I like Blood Harvest a lot too. Well, she said I even got the reward slipcover case from Vinegar Syndrome. Hey, Coco, I've been missing seeing you in here. You say all you had to say was Tiny Tim. That dude legit freaks me out. I saw him playing his ukulele at a circus as a kid, 1985 ish. I think he gave me the creepy dude eye. X Ray says if you can't get Jackie Kong, interview Awesome Kong instead. Yeah, it is really good to see you again, Coco. So, again, if you can handle the clown makeup and weird Tiny Tim being in this, uh, singing "Good night, ladies," that's exactly how he sings it, and I'm singing off key, just kind of like he does. But doing the marvelous Mervo stuff, yeah, I think you'll really enjoy this one. All right. So the next one, we've got a lot of blood in the title of several of these. It may be Wes. Blood Harvest may be on Tubi. It seems like I did see it on Tubi. But the next one I want to talk about is Blood Hook. The tagline, "You can't worm your way out." Now, this is another one that I do remember the cover art for this at video rental stores when I was a kid. But again, for whatever reason, I didn't rent this movie. I Oh, Coco, I am so sorry. You say Doodle passed, and I've been devastated. Just been listening to music and crying, cluster breakdowns. Oh, sweetie, I am so sorry. Um, I had a sudden death in my animal family. Ripley, my guinea pig that I haven't had very long, died suddenly, and I don't know what happened. She was young, and apparently I thought she was healthy and stuff. She was eating, drinking, playing, making the happy guinea pig noises, and uh, one day I went in there and she was just gone. But yeah, I know how you feel. I mean, I've lost uh several of my dogs now. We lost Sam several years ago. We lost Linnea. We lost Brandon recently. But yeah, but Coco, my thoughts are with you. I thought it must have been, something serious to keep you away from the streams. Uh, Blissful, I mean, I don't know if Blissful wants to talk about her pet deaths, but she lost her dog Doobie as well. Blissful, I hope you don't mind me bringing that up. Well, I certainly understand that, never wanting one, because another one, I went through that myself. And it's perfectly fine if you don't ever want to get another one, but I always tell people after they lose a pet, a cherished pet especially, is give yourself some time. You may change your mind, but if you don't change your mind, then that's cool too. Um, my my brother and sister in law lost their dog that they had had for a while, um, and they still haven't got another one, and they may not, because it was devastating to them. And probably if Steve had his complete way, after our dogs passed away, we wouldn't get any more. But I guess I'm a weird bird in that case, and I'm not trying to replace the pet that, and I promise we're going to get off of this and go back to the movies, but I'm not trying to replace the animal that passed away. I my thinking, because all our dogs are rescues, is that when one passes away, wouldn't my pet want me to provide a home for another animal that doesn't have a home? I mean, that's my logic and that's my thought process, but I totally get that other people might not be ready to have, or ever ready to have another animal after, something like that happens. Well, I'm glad, Blissful, because I didn't plan to bring that up, but since we were talking about pet loss, it made me think about that again. Sewer Batman Nerdy said a few years back I lost my cat Batman. The weird thing was I felt it while up at work and then found him on the kitchen floor. Sometimes I think that you get feelings about animals too sometimes. But anyway, I don't want to bum anybody out. So we'll get back to Bloodhook, which in all honesty, I did not see Bloodhook until after I was married to Steve. I saw it for the first time a few years ago. Okay, about 2, maybe 3 years ago. And this is another one. I don't understand why I never rented this damn thing, because I was like, this movie's a lot of fun. It's bad, yeah, but it's still a lot of fun. So a little bit of a plot synopsis on Bloodhook. So 17 years ago, Peter's grandfather went missing under mysterious circumstances. Now, Peter and his friends have returned to the placid Wisconsin town to check out his inherited lake house and to partake in the annual Muskie Madness. Yes, you heard it. Muskie Madness, which is a type of fishing competition. Soon after his arrival, Peter begins to sense that something isn't quite right, but none of his friends nor the local sheriff will believe him. But as townsfolk and tourists begin to disappear, Peter becomes determined to solve the mystery as well as that of his grandfather's disappearance, and soon finds himself facing off against a fishhook wielding madman. This is the feature film debut from director Jim Mallon. Mystery Science Theater 3000, the movie. Bloodhook is a distinctly comedic slasher that mixes copious bloodshed with wry satire. Never released domestically in its original version. Again, Vinegar Syndrome presents this underseen regional horror oddity, fully uncut and featuring previously censored gore and mayhem on Blu-ray, and a fresh cinematographer-approved restoration from its original camera negative. Hey, TJ, you say love Bloodhook, directed by Jim Mallon of Mystery Science Theater 3000. Yes, sir. But not only does this have fantastically bad acting in it, but it has a character named Bev D who loves to exercise constantly. She loves to be part of the Muskie Madness Festival, fishing competition and festival every year. Um, you've got a killer who kills people and then hooks them on a um, stringer. Like anybody that's been fishing and has caught a lot of fish, you usually put a stringer through the mouths of the fish. I remember my dad fishing, and I remember going fishing with my dad. So instead of the fish being put on the stringer, you have people put on it. So you have a whole bunch of corpses floating in the water with this stringer going through their mouths just like fish. Um, you have this crazy wacky guy who seems to be a gun nut at first, and it turns out that his guns are made of wood or something. um, you have a woman who is crazy over loons, I think, and she goes outside just before getting attacked by with a fish hook and killed she's going out to call to the loons, and she's like, woo, woo, I'm not kidding. It has all this stuff in it. You have like a punk rock new wave type of guy who actually takes a fishing lure from this guy's shop and uses it as an earring. And so, yeah, a lot of fun, a lot of zany fun. Um, I don't think there's another movie out there like Blood Hook. He's basically one of a kind. Bliss, will you say you hope someone clips that? What, me going, woo, woo, there's your other chance to get that. Uh, Coco, you say Blood Hook? I tried to watch that film 2 months ago. I couldn't do it. Did you fall asleep during it, Coco? Um, but again, I would recommend Blood Hook, but again, don't go out and buy it. Try to find a for free version. Again, you don't have to tell me how you got this for free version. I mean, some of these movies are available on Tubi. If you have Amazon Prime, some of them may be available there. Some could be available on YouTube. This was actually also a Trauma Team release as well. So, yeah, it pretty much has Lloyd Kaufman and team all over it. Let's you say, yes, I'm thinking ringtone, lol. Coco, you said I'd be so lucky if I fell asleep watching it. So it was that bad, Coco. All right, so we got a couple more films with blood or bloody in the title, and then we'll move on to something else. So the next one is a film that I discovered before Steve and I were married. I discovered Blood Rage a little bit or a few years before I even knew who Steve was. This is a movie I like to watch around Thanksgiving. This and Home Sweet Home are definitely, in my opinion, horror Thanksgiving movies. And I love the tagline, this Thanksgiving, it's not cranberry sauce. Because the killer goes around saying, it's not cranberry sauce, and then, usually kills people. Very bloody and gory, as you can see by the hand with the holding on to the can, that severed hand there. Um, Coco, you say I just didn't care for it. I don't know. I can't really sit still and watch movies lately. Yeah, that's exactly right, Super Batman nerd. That's not cranberry sauce. LOL. So again, this one doesn't have real great acting. And Louise Lasser is in this movie, gang. And Louise Lasser is, I don't know. I think she runs a fine line between being slightly normal and just batshit crazy. Um, because okay, so the movie starts out and I guess Louise Lasser's character is supposed to be a much younger woman, but dang, she don't look like it. But she's had to drive in with a guy, As old as she is, she's making out with a guy, and her two twin sons uh, are in the, she thinks they're asleep, Todd and Terry. And so they kind of sneak out of the car, and Louise Lasser's character, and of course, Louise Lasser was in Mary Hartman, if y'all remember that show. So Todd and Terry kind of sneak out of the car, and Terry thinks it would be an excellent idea to axe up some of the fellow drive-in patrons, right? But Terry doesn't get blamed. Todd gets blamed because Terry smears blood all over Todd, and Todd's kind of in shock and he doesn't say anything. So Todd gets sent away to the mental institution, and Terry gets to, go back home with Mama and grows up and has a pretty girlfriend, gets to play sports with his friends, um, gets to do all those things, and poor Todd is locked away in the mental hospital, which is kind of strange because they call the mental hospital a school. It's not a dang school. It's I don't know if they were afraid to, call it mental institution, an asylum, mental health facility. I figure it would be less kosher now to call it those things than it would have been back in the 80s. Yes, TJ, I'm Todd. I'm Todd. Which anybody that has seen the movie knows that is repeated at the end of it. Lizzie, you say that sounds like me daily. TJ, you said blood rage is before fingerprints and before forensics. LOL. Exactly, because otherwise there would be no movie because they would figure out that Terry was the one that did the killing all along. So Terry has not moved away from his murderous ways, and something sets him off, and he starts killing again. And what sets him off? His mother's going to get remarried, and she's going to marry the guy that owns the apartments that the Shadow Woods apartments that they live in. And hence the other title for this movie. Well, another title was Slasher, but this was also known as Nightmare at Shadow Woods. But I believe that was kind of the cut version. So on this set, this is a 3-disc director approved limited edition from Arrow. So you get 3 versions of the film in this set. You get Blood Rage, the original home video version, Nightmare at Shadow Woods, the theatrical recut, and alternate composite cut, combining footage from both versions. Original stereo sound, reversible sleeve featuring original and newly commissioned artwork by Mark Schoenbach, fully illustrated collector's booklet featuring new writing on the film by Joseph A. Zimba, author of Bleeding Skull, a 1980s trash horror odyssey. So, Blu-ray Disc 1 and DVD, Blood Rage. Brand new 2K restoration, the hard home video version. Transferred from the camera negative and featuring the original title card, Slasher. You get audio commentary with director John Grismer. Both sides of the camera, an interview with producer and actress Marianne Cantor. Double Jeopardy, an interview with actor Mark Soper. Geez Louise, an interview with actress Louise Lasser. Man Behind the Mayhem, an interview with special makeup effects creator Ed French. What else does this movie have? This is a blink and you'll miss him performance from none other than Ted Raimi, a very young Ted Raimi playing a condom salesman in the drive-in's men's bathroom. So, So you get 3 minutes with Ted Raimi, and it literally is 3 minutes. An interview with actor Ted Raimi, Return to Shadow Woods, featuring the original locations in Jacksonville, Florida. Alternate opening titles, motion still gallery featuring rare behind the scenes makeup and photos. You also get a second disc, Nightmare at Shadow Woods limited edition exclusive. Nightmare at Shadow Woods, the re-edited 1987 theatrical cut featuring footage not seen in the Blood Rage home video version. Alternate composite cut of the feature combining footage from the home video and theatrical versions, and never before seen outtakes. Hey, Mayor, you say, I didn't realize that there was a 3 disc version of Blood Rage. Yes, a few years back, Arrow came out with this little package. Blissful, you say, pumpkin spice condoms will appear soon. So Blissful has stopped behaving now. She's talking about pumpkin spice condoms. TJ, you say, I saw it as Shadow Woods way back when. Couldn't find it for years because I didn't know it had another title. Ed French did effects on Tales from the Dark Side. Yes, he did. Blood Rage is a fun one, guys and gals. Not great acting in this, but the special effects, Ed French did a really good job with the special effects. You get to see Ted Raimi at the very beginning, but don't blink because you'll miss him, right? And yeah, the bad acting, the over the top acting by Louise Lasser, all of that, it just adds to the entertainment value of Blood Rage. Okay. TJ hates pumpkin spice. Mary say, legend is that Ted Raimi still sells condoms from that very drive-in. It's extra income when he's not making a film or doing conventions. Um, the question is, would you guys buy a condom from Ted Raimi? All right, so the next one is Bloody Moon, and I couldn't have my slip cover on this because it's got boobies, and it probably would get me kicked off of YouTube. But this is Bloody Moon, like I said. In my opinion, the only competent film Jess Franco ever made. Okay? But that doesn't mean that this doesn't have over the top acting, bad acting, all of that, because it does. But if you were to line up all of Jess Franco's films right in a row, Bloody Moon would be the standard. And Bloody Moon, in my opinion, despite the bad and over the top acting, um, is fantastic with the special effects. And just, I don't know, the overall atmosphere is just fun to me. Only if he autographs the condom, Mayor. Blissful says, TJ, yay, you're not in the cult. TJ says, booby, booby, booby. Yeah, and the boobies on the slipcover for Bloody Moon would probably get me kicked off of YouTube or get the stream silenced or whatever. But so what is Bloody Moon about? From the bizarre mind of Jess Franco, and the man definitely did have a bizarre a mind. As the body count genre stabbed its way into audiences' hearts in the early 80s, Euro trash auteur Jess Franco was asked to create his own saga of slaughtered schoolgirls, complete with gratuitous nudity, graphic violence, and gory set pieces. But just when you thought you'd seen it all, Franco shocked the world by delivering surprising style, genuine suspense, and then a cavalcade of depravity that includes incest, voyeurism, and roller disco. Yes, I said those 3 terms right in a row. The luscious Olivia Pascal of Vanessa fame, stars in this twisted thriller that was banned in England, yet is now presented uncut and uncensored, including the complete stone mill power saw sequence, which is totally one of my favorite death scenes ever in a horror film. For the first time ever on Blu-ray. There we go. Super Batman Nerd says maybe an Evil Dead condom. I'm honestly, Mayor, I'm not really a fan of Jess Franco either. And it's a shame that I watched Bloody Moon before I knew about Jess Franco's other films and how bad they were. I think Jess Franco also did Faceless, which Steve likes, but still my all-time favorite is Bloody Moon. But Exorcism and all that stuff, that's to me is just the sleaze factor is so high, but to me, there's no entertainment value to those. But yeah, I totally get people not being fans of Jess Franco. Yes, Blissful. Blissful says Super Batman Nerd merch idea. Mayor says, as Super Batman Nerd, that is a necro condom. I love it. That's what you could call them too. Somebody should market them. Um, so you do have incest. You have a brother and sister who evidently can't keep their hands off of each other, and a sister that keeps teasing her brother sexually as well. But what I really like about this movie is the death scenes in this. Um, and the fact that it follows the standard slasher template pretty much, of once the people are killed off, they're kind of hid in closets and things like that to pop up a little bit later in the film. Um, but the stone mill power saw sequence is one that has to be seen to be believed, and that's all I'll say about it. I'll leave it right there. So I guess this is a girls' language school or something like that, linguistic school or something. Um, and these girls are being killed off, and well, not just girls, some guys too, in very gory fashion. So that's the allure uh, uh, for this movie. That and the over the top outrageous acting, especially the actress who plays Inga, who goes around saying things like "phony Spanish lover," and wanting her friends to think she's making love to this guy that she told all the girls about. And so she's inside this cottage and she's thinks nobody can see her, and she's jumping up and down on the bed, hopping on the bed, making all these sexual noises, ripping fabric and stuff to make it sound like this guy's ripping her clothes off. And all the while, the other girls go around to a window and they can see her, going like this and ripping fabric and stuff. And um, then she sees them out there and they're laughing at her. And she's like, I suppose you were all laughing because he couldn't come. And, she just, it's just so over the top and outrageous that you just got to love this film. Um, Coco says, Necrocondom, good one. Hey, Chris. Chris says, evening all, slash the light. Thank you, Chris. So Severin put this out, and I I don't know about anybody else, but I'd love to see a 4K of Bloody Moon. Um, just because it's so much fun. I don't know if it would look any better than this Blu-ray, but hey, it's worth a shot. Ooh, goodness. Okay. So we got four more. to cover for tonight, and I'm probably going to go a little bit more over an hour than I usually do. But thank you, guys and gals. We got 14 people in here right now for sticking with me as I go through these. Now we got another Frank Henenlotter film. We got Brain Damage, which has a parasite named Almer, who I would love to have a puppet of this guy, who basically injects a LSD like substance into the base of this guy's brain, but he has to provide people so that Almer can feed off their brains because that's his source of food. So let me explain a little bit more about this movie. From Frank Henenlotter, the man behind such cold horror favorites as Basket Case and Frankenhooker, comes Brain Damage, the ultimate head trip, now finally on Blu-ray. Meet Almer. He's your friendly neighborhood parasite with the ability to induce euphoric hallucinations in his host. But these LSD-like trips come with a hefty price tag when young Brian comes under Almer's addictive spell. It's not too long before he finds himself scouring the city streets in search of his parasite friend's preferred food source, brains. Featuring late-night TV horror host John Zachary. Yes, John Zachary does the voice of Almer. Brain Damage boasts some of the most astonishingly bad taste gore gags ever realized, including the notorious brain pulling sequence. Yes, you heard that right, guys and gals. Brain pulling sequence. And a blowjob that ends with a distinctly unconventional climax. Okay, if you have not seen Brain Damage, I implore you to watch this movie. Have a double feature with Basket Case and Brain Damage. I don't think you'll regret it. Okay. Um, okay. I think I'm going to have to step away, and I've been having a lot of trouble with my blood sugar, mainly keeping the blood sugar up these days. I don't know what's going on with it, but um, if you got, I hope you guys and gals don't all go away. But I'm going to take myself out of the stream for a second and grab myself something really quickly here. Okay. Hopefully I can stay on here for the remainder of this. Okay. Um, Chris says, oh, Bloody Moon. Might have to get that one. I highly recommend it. TJ, you say Almer's glue sticks to your mind. Super Batman Nerd, you say, what's more weird, the blowjob from Brain Damage or the sex scene from Basket Case 2? That might be a tough one, Super Batman Nerd. I'd almost say the blowjob and Brain Damage, but so not only does Almer provide like a LSD like substance to the base of the brain, not only does John Zachary voice Elmer, but he also sings. Elmer sings, believe it or not. So Frank Henenlotter is a genius when it comes to this kind of stuff. That's why I say a double feature some weekend when you don't have anything else to do and have Basket Case and Brain Damage, you won't regret it. Not if you're like me and you just like this trashy, good, gory fun and outrageousness that only Frank Henenlotter can provide. And again, I like this tagline. It's a headache from hell. I feel like I've been having headaches from hell, basically, too. So, um, all right. Here's a weird one. And this is one that you're probably thinking, well, ain't all these been weird, Dana, pretty much? But I did a watch along a while back. And if CK is still in here, if Wes is still in here, he will probably remember this because he was on there with me as well as a few other people. And that is Butcher Baker Nightmare Maker or Night Warning with Christy Nichols' brother, or Christy McNichol's brother, Jimmy McNichol, and crazy ass Susan Terrell as well. And also, who else do we have on here? Well, Bill Paxton's on this too, God rest his soul, from Aliens and Mortuary. This was also directed by William Asher, who did a lot of TV work before doing this. Julia Duffy plays Jimmy McNichol's girlfriend in this. And Bo Svensson, Walking Tall Part 2, Choke Canyon, and Breaking Point, tries to frame Jimmy McNichol, who's a high school basketball player, for murders in this. Okay, let's get back to Susan Terrell for a second here, because Susan Terrell is what makes this movie. Okay, because we start out with a scene where I'm going to sneeze now. We start out with a scene of a young child, a toddler, being held by what appears to be his aunt, played by Susan Terrell. And his parents are leaving to go on a trip. And they're waving to him stuff. Of course, the kid's screaming his head off. And if Susan Terrell was holding me, I think I'd be screaming my head off too, actually. And so then we have the very creepy sequence of the parents leaving, and then the camera kind of zooms in on Susan Terrell's face as she's waving and trying to get the little boy to wave as his parents are leaving. No, he's still screaming his head off. And the look she gives before it moves on to other scenes is so creepy. And so the parents end up dying in a horrific car accident. I'm not going to go into details uh, because, for one, Chris is saying that he has the movie, but he hasn't watched it yet. So I don't want to give too much away. Um, but there are scenes of Susan Terrell whacking off all her hair in this. I think probably it was a wig in the beginning that made her hair look longer. Um, she's covered in blood at one point. Her clothes are all askew and all that. She accuses I think a TV repairman or something. He's some kind of repairman of raping her, and she kills him. But that wasn't the case. Number one, because the guy is a homosexual and he wouldn't have an interest in her anyway, but she came on to him. And so then you have Bo Svensson coming on the scene as the police detective who is convinced that Jimmy McNichol, the nephew, killed the guy. And then the relationship starts out weird between Susan Terrell and Jimmy McNichol in the first place because she comes into his bedroom on his birthday and like starts running her fingers over his bare chest and stuff and back. And it's like, ugh, and this movie is very, very twisted and has a lot of twists and turns along the way. And like I said, because there might be other people other than Chris that haven't seen it yet. I don't want to show all my cards. I don't want to give everything away. But this movie is so over the top and so bizarre. Uh, the acting leaves a little bit to be desired, even from Jimmy McNichol. Susan Terrell is just so over the top. She just fits. This role just fits her like a glove, okay? Um, but despite all of that, I mean, the effects are good in this. It's just bloody enough for horror fans and slasher fans and stuff like that. And the plot's not all convoluted. It's pretty basic when you think about it. This movie is a little bit longer than some of these other movies I talked about tonight at 96 minutes. But again, it doesn't feel like 96 minutes. But it is a good time. If you like slasher films, I think you're going to have fun with this one because it's a slasher film with an added bonus of a crazy ass bitch in Susan Terrell. Yes, Mayor, I agree. Susan Terrell is always over the top. Thank you, Coco. You say, bless you. Uh, Darren, you say, this one's a good one, but I can see people saying it's bad. Yeah. Mary, you say, it was an early film that treated a gay character positively. Yes, yes. Yeah, this is a pretty cool cover, Coco. Uh, I don't know if this. Yeah, it does have a reversible cover, but I don't like this cover with the night warning title nearly as good as I do this one. And I think Butcher Baker Nightmare Maker is a lot better title for this one as well. Yeah, the cop, Bo Svensson's character pissed me off too, TJ. Of course, I think he was supposed to, but Chris, you said, "Oh, will be a future slasher Saturday then." LOL. There you go, Chris. I hope you do enjoy it when you watch it. Okay, so I think Steve may have got me this. This was a Code Red Blu-ray, by the way. I think he got me the DVD and then he got me the Blu-ray later. Mary said, unfortunately, the slipcover sold out for Butcher Baker. I almost thought would be by now. So the next one, or the next to last one I want to talk about tonight is Death Spall. And if you guys and gals remember, I did a watch along not only for Death Spall, but for Killer Workout, which I'll probably also be talking about at some point. So, although I think Death Spall is a little bit more bad, I guess, than Killer Workout. I mean, Killer Workout had its moments, but if I had to say which one I thought was the more bad film or the worst film, I would probably have to say Death Ball. So the new fitness club in town has everything a health nut could ever want. A variety of workout machines, classes taught by friendly and frisky instructors, and a state-of-the-art computer control system for maximum client comfort. And this was something that I would never trust. Computers to control the exercise equipment. That sounds like an crisis or an accident waiting to happen. Unfortunately, it's also possessed by the evil spirit of the owner's dead wife. And before long, every dumbbell, leg press, and rowing machine becomes a deadly weapon for her to enact bloody vengeance on the club's beautiful members. So if you're looking for a real workout from hell, enter Death Ball, a new exercise in terror. Yes, I agree, TJ. You said the cop had tendencies. That's all I'll say. And Chris, you say, yeah, Mayor, I got the regular release of that in a Kino sale a few months back. So, I believe Ken Foray is in this as someone that works at the Death Ball. And I'll just say I like the way the title is presented. Okay. Just all I can say is wait for it. If you watch this and have not seen Death Ball before, just wait for it and you will see it. Mayor, you say, Chris, I've had it in my car for multiple Kino sales, but when I finally decided to get it, the slip was gone. I guess I shouldn't have waited so long. I think we've all done that, Mayor, at one time or another. I know I definitely have. So, Death Ball is fun. I would recommend a double feature with Death Ball and Killer Workout. Um, this has some decent kills in it. The acting probably leaves a little bit to be desired. The over top acting of evil, the evil wife, uh, the evil dead wife, I guess. That sounds weird. It sounds like she came from the Evil Dead movie. But anyway, that's Death Ball. This was put out by. This is actually a Gorgon video um, release. All right. So the last one I want to talk about, some people may say this is just bad, bad, bad. There's nothing fun about it. Steve can't believe I got it on Blu-ray. This was one, believe it or not, that Scream Factory put out. And that's Demented. Revenge is sweet and deadly. So this is basically like a rape revenge type of film, but one that went off the rails. And Sandy Coe presented this one. Okay. And we remember Sandy Coe from where? Well, Terror on Tour for one thing. Home Sweet Home, another, I believe. And maybe Rocktober Blood. I'm not 100% sure. This was written by Alex Rebar, who, had something to do with things like To All Good Night. And probably some of these other Sandy Cove productions. So, uh, let me give you a little plot synopsis for Demented. So, after surviving a brutal and devastating assault, Linda Rogers is institutionalized in order to deal with her intense trauma. Oh, by the way, Harry Reams is in this as he is also in To All Good Night as well. By the time she's finally released, her attackers have been brought to justice and imprisoned, but the psychological scars remain. Tormented by visions of her attackers and mistreated by her philandering husband, played by Harry Reams, Linda is pushed over the edge when she encounters four young men whom she confuses with the men who assaulted her. Consumed with madness, Linda attempts to enact a bloody retribution for the disgusting crimes committed upon her, and no one is safe in this shocking 1980 exploitation film. They say in the tradition of I Spit on Your Grave. I disagree with that, but I still find this one an interesting little time waster. It's 92 minutes long. Again, people might think, dang, that's too long for something like this. But how can you resist something with a cover like this, right? That's a great cover. And it pretty much says it all right there. Coco, are you talking about Demented? You say you swear that was shot in your hometown? Darren, you say I love Demented. Got a porn feeling about it. It does, to some degree. Yeah, that gritty, dirty porn feel. I think maybe even the music as well. Mary, you say Kino just has too many good titles. Even when they have a sale, I can't afford to grab everything I want. And I only buy Kino titles during their sales. Coco, you want to know the date for this one? This is 1980. So it probably was filmed in 79, I would say. Mary, say, okay, Darren, now I get the porn connection with Harry Reams and Demented. um, Yeah, if you do get this version from Screen Factory, there's not really any special features either, which is kind of a bummer. Um, so I did go over a little bit longer than I usually do with these things. I went over by probably a good 15 or so minutes. But I'm glad you guys and gals stuck around for the duration of this. I had a lot of fun with this. And probably next week I will return with a second batch of So Bad They're Good horror films to go over with you guys and gals. We've had a pretty good group tonight. It's been over 10 people in here at all points and times, pretty much. We still got 13 in here. I'd love to be able to go on longer, but that would probably bore you guys to tears. And I think it's better to keep it at around this length. Ooh, and I do want to try to get that intro for Midday with Dana and Jay, which will be premiering under its new title tomorrow around 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Okay. So you guys can look forward to that coming up tomorrow or afternoon. Saturday and Sunday, the watch alongs will be the watch alongs. Oh, good Lord. Phantasm on my brain is just going. Phantasm on Saturday starting at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, and Stand By Me on Sunday also starting at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. So I hope you guys can join me for all of that. Um, and I'm going to read through the rest of these chat messages before I get off of here. Mayor said, boo, scam factory. Coco, you say, yes, there's a huge house that movie was shot in. It was a big deal. 1980, maybe it wasn't that movie. Well, I'm not going to say it wasn't. Good night, Darren. Good night, Chris. Mayor, you say, I just got through watching The Devils for the Dead Pit. live. Did they just do a live, Mayor? Well, there I go, kind of stepping on their toes again. I didn't mean to. Um, but anyway, thank you guys and gals for joining me tonight, and I'll be back tomorrow afternoon with the first official edition of Midday with Dana and Jay, and those lovely watch alongs. And then hopefully for many, if not all of us, there will be a Labor Day holiday come Monday. Good night, Coco. You say I'll try to check ins out tomorrow night, or tomorrow rather, night all. Oh, it starts at 10. Okay. I guess I thought you meant you had already watched it. But hey, Russell, sorry I'm getting ready to get off of here, but on that note, as I always say, I'm going to skedaddle on out of here for the night, and I will see everyone on the flip side. Y'all have a good night, and I hope to see many, if not all of you, at the first official stream for Midday with Dana and Jay, and for the watch alongs this weekend for Phantasm and Stand By Me. So have a great night, guys, and I'll see you next time.